Welcome to Wire Talk with Karen Stubbs, a podcast designed to encourage and equip moms by answering your questions about motherhood, hopefully helping you maintain your faithfulness to God while experiencing a peaceful life on your journey. Here's your host, Sunny Williams.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Wire Talk with Karen Stubbs. I'm Sunny, I'm your host today, and I'm here with the lovely Karen herself. How you doing today, Karen?
I'm doing good, Sunny. I'm doing good. It's so pretty outside. It was sort of, when we first started this morning, looked a little gloomy, but now I think the sun is
perk up a
trying
little
to
bit.
come out.
But I'm going to be really honest with y'all, and Karen is lying to y'all straight to your faces.
You're gonna
Karen
sell
does
me
not
out.
feel well today.
I don't.
She's not feeling well, and she's like, which you would not know until I just said it, but she is not feeling good right now, and so if this feels a little fast,
Maybe
don't
it's for
take
a
it
reason.
personally.
My tummy tum is not cooperating.
Well, okay, so we're and this topic's not going to be at all helpful to that either.
Exactly.
But before we talk about this topic, we are at the end of July, which means August is like 4 or 5 days away. And what happens in August?
Virtual SOAR, August 21st. Every mom needs to sign up that listens to this podcast.
Yeah.
Y'all can do this. It's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. And I want you to sign up.
And you remind them how they have like 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to go live on August 21st, but they have 6 weeks to watch all the content.
Yeah.
So if that date doesn't work, don't give up.
Yeah.
Just sign up and then watch it at your convenience. You have 6 weeks.
And it's going to be talking about sort of all of the underlying anxieties that moms deal with. Mm-hmm. And in this day and age right now, every mom needs this.
Oh, yeah.
So please, please, please do yourself a favor and pour into your own cup.
Amen.
And sign up for SOAR.
And if anything gives moms anxiety, this topic that we're talking about today,
Oh, gosh.
we'll bring it.
So my daughter for Mother's Day gave me this little plaque that said, "Suck it up, buttercup."
Yes.
And that's where we are right now. So we're all going to have to suck it up and get through this conversation.
Yes.
And what are we talking about?
Let's talk about sex with your kids, that is.
Yikes.
I know.
Okay. So not yikes. That's not the right word at all. But
nobody loves this conversation. Let's just be real.
Yes, indeed. So the first question says, my oldest child is 8 years old and in second grade. For a few months now, he has asked about babies. Like, how do they get in there? How do they get out? Do you just ask God for a baby when you want one? I want to start the talks. I have the book by that name by Jennifer and Barrett Johnson. But the book, The Talks, seem to be more relevant when kids start dating and how to safeguard against early intimacy. Do you have any specific resources or points of talking that you would recommend starting with at this age? I want to get it right.
Yeah. I mean, I think getting it right and that whole, theory of that, it's easy to say. It's just hard to do because every child's different.
Yeah, it's all relative.
It's just relative. So getting it right with one child may not be getting it right with the other child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And here's the deal. Your son's 8 years old. He's just curious.
Yeah.
His questions of how do they get in there? How do they get out? It just could be that simple.
Right.
And he's not even thinking about sex.
Right.
Probably that's what it is. So I would just answer his questions.
Yeah.
Does God put the baby in there? Yes, he does. Mm-hmm. Did you pray for me whenever you wanted a baby? Yes, I did. And I was so glad whenever I found out I was pregnant with you. How does the baby get out? I would just say God gives the moms a special hole and they just come out.
Yep.
And
or they get cut out.
Yeah, there's different ways, and so I would just answer his questions as simple as possible. And then if he continues to ask questions like further exploratory questions,
right,
then he wants to know more.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can just say, what do you think happens? Mm-hmm. How do you think? Just to sort of figure out, where are you on this, buddy?
Yeah, that's
because
great.
The last thing you want to do is go into the mechanics of sex with an 8-year-old and they're like, holy tamale.
Yeah,
what? I didn't want all that, Mom. And now I'm like freaked out that you and Dad do that kind of thing. Because sometimes they are too young. Mm-hmm. And that, once again, that just depends on where your child is.
Yeah.
So answer his questions. And the more he asks, the more you explain. And if he continues to want more, then I would give him more, but just a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Sex in your children, talking to your children about sex is just a continual conversation.
Yes.
From this age all the way up until they get married,
yeah.
in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Bobby's in the 5th grade,
mm-hmm.
and John had the talk with him this year.
Yes.
For sure.
And that's an appropriate amount of time to really talk about the talk.
Yeah. And it is an ongoing conversation.
And it should be.
He comes back with questions all the time.
So did my children.
So with Dora, she, in their health class, that's part of their health class. And we got it at the very last minute. We didn't get a chance to look at the curriculum. And so I was like, we have to talk about it before you get a talk at school because I don't know what they're going to say. And I want to make sure you hear our perspective first.
Yeah.
And so literally it was, we dropped Bobby off at school and we went to Starbucks. This is like 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so we got a coffee, or I don't remember what she had. And we went into the back corner and I was like, okay,
let's do this.
Let's do this. And it was completely bizarre.
Yeah.
And, awkward. Some poor man was over there reading a newspaper. I can only imagine what he was thinking. But that was the time. Like, we needed to have it then.
Yeah. And that's the way it is sometimes. It's may not be what you thought, may not be what you planned, but it just, that's the way it worked out.
Right.
So you just take the bull by the horns and you do it.
Yeah.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
That's right. So what's one practical thing for this mom who's trying to figure out when is the right time and the best way to do it?
Just start answering his questions and see what level he's on with his questions.
Yeah.
He'll let you know.
Yeah. Okay. Our next question. This is a TMI question.
Okay.
So y'all get ready. Okay. Our question says, growing up without brothers or really even a dad in the house, I have enjoyed learning all about boys as my now 11-year-old son has gone through each stage of childhood. He is now starting puberty, and I want to learn about the different stages of puberty for boys. With my daughters growing up, it has been easier because I know all about that from my own experience, but everything about boys has been a wonderful mystery to me. Thankfully, my husband has done a great job of having all the talks with our son, and I'm fine with them keeping all the manly conversations between the two of them, but I don't like feeling clueless about this important stage for my boy. Maybe TMI, but specifically, I am wondering what in the world is the wet dream all about? My son told my husband this happened recently. Apparently, this isn't him having sexual thoughts or dreams, but the body's way of making, quote, all the plumbing work, ? I'm so confused. My husband was just like, awesome, dude, you're growing up. Any resources for moms to understand the different stages of puberty for boys?
All right. Well, I have heard of a few resources, so I'd love to share.
Okay.
Created by God, written by James H. Ritchie is good. Also, What's the Big Deal? Why God Cares About Sex, or Facing the Facts, the Truth About Sex and You. You can get these on Amazon, and I've heard they cover everything. So I just want to say thank goodness that your husband has taken the, such a hands-on approach. And that's such a blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, truly.
So it's kind of difficult to answer these questions
It
because
sure is.
we're not there.
Yeah.
Like, we're not in that stage. Well, I guess I'm technically in that stage, but.
Well, and honestly, when Taylor went through this stage, we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, not the wet dreams thing. I changed his sheets. I never noticed anything. I don't know, and I asked Greg at one point, like, will he do that? And Greg goes, I don't know. I mean, that's what Greg's response was. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
So and usually a middle school boy doesn't want to talk about that with his mom. So we didn't.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great, though, because, like, Bobby's 11. He's going into middle school next year. He went through a giant growth spurt over the last year and a half. He's almost as tall as I am right now.
Oh, my goodness.
He's, like, up to above my eyebrows.
Yeah.
I can't keep that boy in shoes because of how fast he's growing. His voice is starting to drop. Even the other day, he was like, oh, I hear it now. I don't like it. I was like, buddy, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so it's all the things.
They're all happening.
Yep. They're all happening.
Yeah.
And then Dora's going to go off and leave me by myself.
I know, with all these men in your house. Listen.
I'm going to be outnumbered.
Dora's leaving you and Abby's leaving me.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Abby's really leaving.
Yeah. That's not cool.
No.
Okay. So those were some great resources, and we'll make sure those are put up in the show notes.
Sure.
So what's one practical thing that this mom can do as far as the resources to understand the different stages of puberties for the boys?
Honestly, I talked to your husband about it and get him to explain a few things to you.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's good.
You don't have to tell me what you and him are talking about, but talk to me about it. Like, I don't understand it. I didn't grow up with boys.
Yeah.
And so will you just educate me a little bit?
Oh,
I bet he would. Yeah.
John's going to be like, great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be our talk in the car on the way to the soccer game this weekend. I can feel that coming.
So funny.
Hey moms, it's Katie, and I want to talk to you about SOAR again. Have you got your tickets? Come on. It is going to be amazing. SOAR 2021 is coming to you live on August 21st, which is less than a month away. But because we're doing it online, you can join us for any time for 30 days after August 21st. This year, SOAR is being hosted by the lovely Tony Collier. Karen is going to be talking on the theme of peace and finding peace and having peace no matter what is going on in your world. And then in addition to Karen's main sessions, Karen is interviewing our 3 breakout guests this year. So that's going to include Dr. Chinua Williams, Jenny Boyette, and married couple Bryant and Kristen Young. If you head to our website, birdsonawire.com/soar together, you can check out all of their stories, find out a little bit more about them, and hear exactly why we invited them to speak to you this year. It is going to be an incredible, incredible time together. But if you want to have a really good time at SOAR this year, I highly recommend you gather 9 friends and purchase a group pass. When you purchase that group pass, we're going to equip you with extra resources, some playlists, some delicious recipes, simple recipes, moms, icebreakers, a bingo card that are going to make hosting a gathering fun and simple. If you haven't signed up yet, pause the podcast. Head to boaw.mom/soar. Okay? boaw.mom/soar. You want to grab your ticket today. We've still got individual tickets left. We've got group passes. School is coming. School is coming. It kicks back up in August. And SOAR is a great way to arm yourself with confidence, with some encouragement. It's a great way to renew your hope for the year ahead of you. So talk to your friends. Grab a couple friends. If you don't have 9 friends, you can gather with 2 or 3. Get your tickets at boaw.mom/soar. Make plans to join us this year. It is going to be one day of encouragement that arms you for months to come. All right? boaw.mom/soar. Now let's get back to the show.
Our next question says, I just had to have the period talk with my 9-year-old daughter because the neighbor girl, who is a year older, already has hers and told our girl about it. This same girl told her Santa wasn't real when she was 6. Not only am I angry that this little girl is talking about this stuff with our daughter, I was not prepared for how heartbroken I would feel taking away that little piece of innocence away. I sure hope I did a good job. I mean, I've been sort of preparing for it, but I didn't realize how quickly I would have to. And what in the world do I do about this neighbor girl? They have been close since we moved in 5 years ago, and I know our daughter would be devastated if we said she couldn't hang out with her anymore. But I'm worried she will say more things that I do not want to explain this early.
I can understand all of that.
Yeah.
And I get that. You know, we all want to keep our children as young and innocent as possible.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, every mom wants that. But here's the deal. Children just say things.
Yeah.
They don't think anything about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like that little girl is trying to be, you know, mischievous or malicious or anything. She's just saying, hey, I started my period, because they're friends.
Yeah.
And that's what friends talk about.
Yeah.
So the 9-year-old is, ooh, what's that?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can remember whenever I was a young girl, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but here we go. I was in my backyard swinging with my friend. I mean, swinging like on the swing set. And she was like, what's your mom's name? What's your dad's name? We were just talking. And I said, my dad's name is Dick. And she said, oh, and she started laughing. And I'm like, well, what's so funny about that? And she's like, do you know what that means? And I was like, no. And she told me.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I ran inside and I told my mom, like, she said dad's name is a bad word and, you know, it's part of a body. I mean, I said the word.
Yeah.
And mom was like, you don't need to be talking about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, why would anybody name their son that? Like, I don't understand, you know? And mom was just like, his name is Richard. And that Dick is a nickname for the word Richard. And then that society has just turned it into that. And I was like, I mean, I was devastated, you know, and the next time anybody asked me what my father's name was, I was Richard. So these things just happen. And I know it wasn't this mom's timing, and I get it. But you know what? Rarely in life is it in our timing.
Right.
Truly. I mean, I know that sounds sort of hard on my point, but if you've had children and gone through it all, it's just never going to work out the way we really think it is.
Right.
But I will say this about the neighbor. If the mom thinks that the neighbor girl is a little too fast for her daughter, which, a year makes a big difference.
Sure.
Especially when she gets into middle school and all that. It's going to make a big difference. I would just start naturally creating a little space in between. You don't have to make a big, hairy deal about it.
Sure.
Don't even tell your daughter you're doing it.
Yeah.
Just be busy or not available or whatever.
Right.
Or have the little 10-year-old come to your house so you can sort of keep an ear out on what's being talked about. That's a way you can sort of still control things without being overt about it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I also think having the conversation with the daughter, be like, if there are things, she
come
told
to
you
me
about
and talk to me. Yeah.
Ask me whatever you want.
Exactly. And now the little girl's set for success. She's not going to be surprised if this is the deal about a period. We don't ever know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We think, oh, it's going to be coming soon, but we don't know.
Yeah.
And that the sooner you can tell your child, I mean, I'm not saying 5 years old or anything, but, 9, 10, 11, those are good ages to be having those conversations.
Yeah.
Because you don't want her to get to school and it start and she not know anything about it.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
That's going to be very traumatizing.
We were very like, here's what's going to happen. We're going to make you a little kit in case it happens at school. You just keep this in your backpack. But
No
she's
big deal.
so open about it now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a normal part of life and conversation. It's not like it's this, pss, pss, I have to whisper about it,
Yeah.
So, which I appreciate. But,
Absolutely.
that keeping that door open is always great. Question number 4 says, one of my boys is quite fond of his privates. And this started when he was an infant, and it's still happening now at age 7. I have heard that this is very normal, yet no one has been able to give me advice. What is the conversation I should be having with him at this age? I want to foster a healthy family culture around sexuality.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I just think it's very normal.
Yeah.
And definitely with boys. I mean, it's amazing to them. But I would just let him know that, we don't touch our private parts in public, and if you're going to do that sort of thing, go to your room or whatever. I would try not to make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
I know whenever Taylor was little, I had never had a boy. And like this other mom, a few questions earlier, I was never raised with brothers, so I didn't know anything about it. And Taylor loved to be naked, and run around the house naked. And I'd have him dressed for the day, and I'd look over, and he was completely naked. And I called my friend that had 4 boys, and I'm like, what is going on, And she's like, boys just have a thing for their thing, And so she said, the more bigger deal you make out of it, the worse it's going to be.
Right.
So just try to ignore it. Just tell him to put on his clothes, and, we can get naked later on. We're getting ready for bed and stuff like that. And so, but she said, at the time, if it really just keeps up, and if this child just keeps, messing or whatever, I talked to the pediatrician, but honestly, the pediatrician is going to tell you to ignore it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's one practical thing that this mom can do today to try to help with this topic?
Ignore it. Pretty simple.
Not in public.
Yes. Have the guidelines. Yeah. Don't make him feel bad about it. Just be like, hey, why don't you go on up to your room if you need to lay down and take a rest and do that or whatever, like we don't want to sit here and watch you, whatever. And honestly, that age, he's just messing with it. There's nothing happening.
No.
So yeah.
Bless. Our next question says, my daughters and I love to watch TV together, but it seems like every show on TV revolves around sex in some way or another. I can deal with innuendos here and there, but it just feels all over the top now. Or maybe I'm just now noticing it since I'm watching it with a young audience. Karen, did you run into this? Or did you just never watch TV together or talk about it when it happened?
We did watch TV together, and I did run into this for sure. I tried to pick age-appropriate shows, but they do get to a certain age where they don't care about the Nickelodeon or the Disney shows, and they want to go to a little bit older. Some shows we just tried to avoid altogether. Friends just happened to be one of those shows, because when Emily was, I guess, middle school, they just talked about sex at every single show on Friends. And they swapped sleeping partners all the time and, hookups and all that. And I just didn't want Emily to think that was normal.
Right.
So that was just a show. I just told her, you can't watch that till you get older, And she was like, why? All my friends are watching it and I don't know what they're talking about. And I said, I'm sorry. It's just, I don't think it's an age appropriate show for you. It's so funny when she got to college, she like binged watched Friends, which was fine. I didn't care about that. But if we were watching a movie and something happened, I would pause it and I would say, okay, they're just glamorizing this right here.
Mm-hmm.
Sex in the real world, it isn't like this. People aren't throwing you up against the wall and taking off your clothes and you don't just roll over and go to sleep. It's just not like that.
Right.
Which maybe that's too blunt, but that's the way I chose to do it, and we would just have good conversations about it, So that's how I dealt with it. So you got to pick and choose. Once again, knowing how mature your child is, knowing what influences them and all that really helps in deciding these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
John is very averse to anything that really has to do with like the sexual nature in entertainment.
Sure.
And so as soon as there's like a hint of it, it's like, if someone's always holding the remote to either press pause or change the channel or like hit the guide button so you can't see what's happening.
Yeah.
And so fortunately now with all the like streaming options, there's a lot more options now of more family type shows that you can watch and that aren't where you don't have to quite worry about that so much.
Yeah. Greg was always sort of the same way. And he was always like, I would much rather have our children watch, like The Patriot, movies like that are pretty violent. But Greg's like, I'd much rather them watch that than this over here, like The Vampire Diaries. Like Greg's like, no, or Twilight or whatever, back in my kid's day. Where it was so romanticized and, it's just so over the top, kind of thing. So
and what's so funny, like even just like High School Musical.
Yeah.
Right? Not that it was necessarily sexualized, but kids believe that that's what high school is going to be like.
Yeah.
And then they're like, my life stinks because my life is not High School Musical.
Yeah.
And it's like that, having to teach them, this is fake.
It's so fake.
It's all fake. Same thing. And it just keeps going right up the chain.
Yes, exactly.
What you're seeing on that is completely and utterly.
It's fantasy.
Yes. And not even good one at that. Like,
exactly.
You know what
right.
I mean? Like,
yes.
Yeah. So for this sweet mom.
Yes.
What is one thing that she can do today to kind of get through the watching TV with the younger audience now?
Yeah, I just think I would look at it like these are good opportunities to have for conversations. And whether you're not ready to dive into that right now, but eventually just know that that's where you teach your children is through the conversations and talking it through.
Yeah.
So
this just popped into my head for a resource. Common Sense Media. You can look shows up and it'll kind of give you like a scale of like 1 to 5, like sex level, cursing level, violence, drugs, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
As far as like trying to find something that's appropriate to be able to watch as a family.
That's a great resource. I love that.
So, that was all.
It was short.
It was short, but you did a good job. You made it through.
Thank you. I have to say, whenever we stop this, I'm going to go lay down.
Yes. Got it. Well, moms, that's all the time that we have for today. And we thank you for spending it with us. We hope that you feel encouraged, equipped, and maybe even inspired to gather together with some other moms in your community after our conversation. If today's episode has encouraged you, would you share it with a friend? You can snap a screenshot of it playing from your phone and text it with a little note, or you could tag a friend on an Instagram post today. This show grows by word of mouth, and we really appreciate each and every one of you and how you help us to reach more and more moms. As always, if you have questions about mom life, we want to hear them. So you can email us at info@birdsonawiremoms.com or send us a message on social media. We are the @ Birds on a Wire Moms on Facebook and Instagram. All right, moms, that's it for us for today. Tune in next week to see if we cover your questions. And until then, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Wire Talk with Karen Stubbs, the podcast designed to encourage and equip you on your journey of motherhood.